Hi and welcome to BeatleDave's Beatles Bites. Today I'm going to be showing the John Lennon Withdrawn USA LP, Roots. So please come and join me. So hello and welcome to the last in the present series episode of BeatleDave's Beatles Bites, which is a more individual look at one-off items or even smaller lots of items which I have in my collection. Well, now the subject for today's video is the Withdrawn John Lennon LP Roots, which was made by the mail order company VIII and was actually technically a rough mixtape which was illegally put out. So firstly, here's some background information on the LP. So please, come and join me. Roots is a very rare USA mail order LP issued in January 1975 by VIII Records. Consisting of rough mixes of John Lennon's rock and roll album tracks, it was only available for 3 days via TV ads in January 1975 before being pulled. Because of Lennon's melodic resemblance of Chuck Berry's You Can't Catch Me on his own song Come Together, publisher Maurice Levy brought a lawsuit of infringement against John to be held in a New York court in December 1973. As John had now split with Yoko, he was living in LA and wanted to avoid returning to New York. Levy dropped the suit after John agreed to record at least 3 songs from Levy's catalogue after the Mind Games album. So he eventually teamed up with Phil Spector to record the Oldies album, but the sessions quickly fell into disarray. Spector then disappeared with the session tapes and would not be heard from for several months. By 1974, Lennon had started recording Walls and Bridges in New York, and although the Oldies tapes were retrieved for $90,000, John did not want to stop the momentum, so the tapes were shelved until after he had finished his Walls LP. When an infuriated Levy heard the Yah snippet from Walls and Bridges, he threatened to refile the lawsuit, but not before Lennon explained what had happened. He assured Levy he had finished the album, and with the Walls and Bridges musicians and also Levy offering them a place to rehearse, they finished the album. Lennon gave Levy a rough tape of the album, which Levy offered to a mail order company for release. However, Capitol and Apple insisted Lennon release it according to his contract and to ask Levy to cancel the release. Levy was now feeling betrayed, had pressed the album and sued Lennon, Capitol and Apple for $42 million. After some extra work on the tapes, Capitol Rush released the rock and roll album in February, also before the case was heard in the New York District Court. By June, Lennon and Capitol EMI had prevailed, and although Levy was awarded a token payment for the infringement on You Can't Catch Me, he had to pay EMI $109,700 in lost revenue and $42,000 to Lennon for damages to his reputation due to the rough mix sound quality. Production of the Roots LP was halted, with the remainder of the albums being destroyed, but not before around 3,000 copies had made their way out to the public, creating an instant collector's item, and also not before John Lennon had also ordered one of the LPs for himself. So let's take a look. So here we have then the John Lennon Roots LP, released by VIII Records, catalogue number A8018, and this was available in January 1975 just for 3 days, and also 8 tracks were available at this period as well. So if you've got an 8-track, it's extremely rare and very, very hard to find. So this is a 100% genuine copy of the Roots album, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the sleeve, I'm then going to show the inner sleeve and then the actual vinyl itself, and then I'm going to go back with each component and show you how to differentiate between the original and a counterfeit copy. So let's take a look at the sleeve first then. So we'll start at the top there. We've got the VIII Limited logo there, with John Lennon sings a great rock and roll hits with Roots, and all the tracks on the album. Not such a great picture of John there, not a really brilliant one. And then bottom right, you've got the catalogue number with stereo. This is not too bad a copy. This is a really nice copy. Really hard to get a really mint one of these. Let's turn that over, and then at top left we've got that Adam 8 Limited again, slightly different logo. Got the details where Adam 8 were based in New York. And then we've got, once again, got the John Lennon Sings the Great Rock and Roll Hits with side 1 and side 2. And then at the bottom, once again, we've got Adam 8 Limited and John Lennon and Apple Records Inc. Oh dear. They were really asking for trouble with this one. And then we've got to the right hand side additional LPs and tapes by Adam 8 with the PO box number. And you've got Soul Train Super Tracks and 20 solid gold hits. So we've got the all important spine then to look at. And you've got the catalogue number, John Lennon Sings the Great Rock and Roll Hits, and Adam 8 Limited. So on to the inner sleeve then, and this particular printed one is one of two which you could have got with your Roots LP. The other one which is available, which is slightly pinky red one, I believe, from memory, but this one's obviously the blue one, as you can see, so don't worry if you haven't got this one in your copy. So you've got Billie Holiday there, advertisement, Soul Train, rock and roll is here to stay, or rock is here to stay, and 40 #1 original country oldies, and some more advertisements there on the back with Soul Train again, and rock and roll and 60s. But this is actually in really great condition, this inner. So on to the original vinyl then, and we'll start with side 1, best place to start. And this is in really fabulous condition. It's got some pressing marks on it, but it really is in lovely condition, this particular copy. Really hard to get in, really nice mint condition. But obviously it contains the rough mixtape which was given to Maurice Levy from John, which he then went on to actually release and get into trouble and go to court over. So it kind of backfired on him at the end, really. But this is really nice. Fabulous looking label, nice orange label there as well. Adam 8 at the top. You've got John Lennon Roots with all the detail, all the tracks right the way through the middle there. The catalogue number and side 1 on the left, 33 1/3 and stereo to the right. And the matrix on side 1 is A8018A. Nice and easy. I'm going to flip that over. Once again, you've got the same details on side 2. Got the Adam 8 logo there at the top with John Lennon Roots. All the tracks through the middle there with the catalogue number and side 2 to the left, and 33 1/3 and stereo to the right. And the matrix on side 2 is A8018B. And as always, many counterfeits exist of this LP. So we're going to move on to that now. We're going to start with the cover in a moment, and I'm going to show you all the ways to tell a counterfeit from an original. So starting again with the cover, I'm going to show you several ways of how to tell an original from a fake copy of the Roots LP. We're going to start with the front, as you can see, bottom right, and if you cannot see the pink flesh on John Lennon's shoulder, it's an absolutely 100% fake. The counterfeits actually used a slightly enlarged copy of the front cover, which cuts out John's shoulder, and I shall show you that now. So as you can see there, where my finger is, there's a little bit of pink flesh there of John's. You've got his waistcoat and you've got a pink bit of flesh. That proves this one is genuine. So looking at the bottom right of the cover again, where the word stereo is and the catalogue number, if the actual colours run together with the word stereo, it's actually a fake, whereas the actual word stereo should be in separate letters. So we're going to bring that closer for you to see. And as you can see there, every letter is identifiable. Now the original covers are actually manufactured with white poster board, so any copy that has a paste on cover slick, it's actually a fake. But the trouble is, some counterfeits actually copied the white poster board construction. But I'm going to show you the inside of this, if you can see it hopefully. And it's got a white inner, which is the poster board correct type. So moving on to the back of the cover, if the printing on the little album covers are slightly blurred, they're 100% fake. So let's take a look at the Soul Train and the Solid Gold Hits album sleeves. As you can see, we're getting quite close there, but they're all, you can make them out. If you went in with a camera there, took a photo, you could make those words out. And the same again on that album sleeve, they're kind of clear. Now, if any copy has the word greatest instead of great printed on the spine, once again, it's a fake. Now, I know I've already showed you the spine, but we're going to have a look again. There we are. It's got the catalogue number, and we've got John Lennon sings the great rock and roll hits. If it says greatest, it's a fake. So onto the vinyl then, and as you can tell, it's quite a reasonably thin vinyl. It's not ultra thin, but it's of a medium weight. Now, any vinyls that you get, any counterfeits of this LP, turn up on quite a thick vinyl. Now, that's absolutely incorrect, because around about the mid-70s, most records were kind of flexible. So that proves a point there, which it's definitely counterfeit if you've got quite a thick vinyl. So another way to tell then is the actual labels themselves. And if the label itself is actually unusually large compared to a standard 1970s pressing, it's a fake. So another way to tell then is there is on the run out area a machine stamped bell sound stamp, which hopefully you might be able to see in there. If not, I'll put a picture on the screen. And every original has that on the run out area there. Most counterfeits don't have it, but there is a few which are cleverly stamped bell sound, so be very careful. So there is actually one definitive thing that actually separates the originals from the fakes, and all original copies have this matrix number of A8018 pressed into the actual side 1 label. Now, this is incredibly difficult to find and see, but I have managed to get a couple of photos which I'll put on the screen, but it's very, very difficult to show you with the camera. But I'll put this on screen. As I say, there's no counterfeits actually have this feature at all. So you know you've got 100% bona fide original copy of Roots. You should be able to find that on side 1 of your label. Very, very hard to see though, but it's engraved there under the label. So thank you all for joining me today and tuning in on BeatleDave's Beatles Bites. Really hope you've enjoyed seeing the ultra rare Roots LP, and as I mentioned earlier, this is the final episode of the current series, so keep an eye out for any more series that I will be doing. Also, any comments I get from you guys, I will of course come back to you as soon as I can. So anyway, if you enjoy what I'm doing, why not give us a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. This is BeatleDave signing off. BeatleDave's Beatles Bites.